facilitative support to families, and pursuant to this Defense Council and the Defense Forces Standing Instructions number 1 of 2018, there's a place for widows, orphans, and dependents, which focuses on how we can help the widows who are left behind, the dependents which are left behind, and service personnel living with a disability that they got it during the either training or during combat. And this document provides a comprehensive policy framework that guides Kenya Defense Forces services and commanders on their responsibility in supporting the affected individuals. So it binds the KDF, it binds our commanders on their core responsibility to support the affected individuals and their families. Above all, we have a counseling and psychological support that we give. KDF offers comprehensive counseling and psychological support services to assist service personnel and families to cope with loss and grief. Additionally, KDF has established, Madam Speaker, a very comprehensive network of welfare centers, which are managed by trained social workers and counselors. Such centers, Madam Speaker, one of the best in the region, our wellness center, and if the committee and this house can visit, is one that we have at the Langata Barracks on your way to Ngong and Karen. If you go to Langata Barracks, we have a modern, one of the best facilities, and you'll find officers and servicemen and personnel who were injured either in training or within our country or outside our country during combat. We promote, Madam Speaker, restorative welfare program to support both serving and retired personnel along with their families. We develop psychological support programs for current and retired service personnel, their families, the families of the deceased personnel. We have a very robust team called the Veterans Department within Kenya Defense Forces. That even those who retired from the CDFs who retired to the lowest rank, we still have a very robust insurance policy. They are part and parcel of the KDF family. We ensure expedient delivery of terminal benefits and compensation to service personnel and their beneficiaries. And above all, we conduct what we call post-burial visits to monitor the state and the welfare of families of deceased service personnel. And finally, we coordinate social rehabilitation and mentally, for physically and mentally disabled service personnel among their responsibilities. Madam Speaker, our policies are continuously reviewed, they are updated to address any emerging needs to the families, and we ensure families receive the much needed support and care from internally grieved nation. The second question, Madam Speaker, was what benefits and strategic advantage has Kenya accrued from her participation in AMISOM? And I think now AMISOM is moribund, so we just talk of what has Kenya achieved or accrued from our participation in ATMIS. Article 241, Article 1 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Madam Speaker, establishes the Kenya Defense Forces with a subtitle 3, delineating the mandates as a defense force and the protection of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Republic of Kenya, but as well as protecting the citizens against land, air, and sea-based threats. And these are matters of paramount national security interest for the Ministry of Defense and the Kenya government. Therefore, Madam Speaker, our involvement in AMISOM and now ATMIS has been twofold. One is our commitment to national security. And if you look at the history, the journey, how we ended up in Somalia, primarily first why we ended up in Somalia was because our national security interest was threatened by Al-Shabaab and by other terror groups who have found heaven, who have found base within Somalia and the Horn of Africa. Therefore, our involvement now under ATMIS was primarily to